The film begins with a young woman, Ellen, calling out, seeking companionship. A low, inhuman voice responds, claiming she has awakened it from an eternal slumber. The voice belongs to an unseen entity, visible only as a silhouette in the blowing drapes by the window. The entity asks if Ellen pledges herself to him, and she agrees, immediately seizing up. Years later, in 1838 Germany, Ellen is married to Thomas Hutter, a real estate agent, and they live in the town of Wisborg. The couple is deeply in love, and Thomas begins working for her Knock, who tasks him with selling an old castle belonging to the mysterious Count Orlock. When Thomas informs Ellen of his trip to sell the castle, she becomes distressed. She recounts a dream from their wedding night where all the guests had died, and death appeared as her groom. Despite the grim imagery, Ellen admits she had never felt so happy. Thomas leaves Ellen in the care of their friends, Friedrich Harding and his wife Anna, who have 2 daughters, Clara and Louise, and are expecting a 3rd child. Thomas travels to a small village in Bohemia for the night. The villagers initially shun him upon learning of his business with Count Orlock, but allow him to stay when he offers double payment. That night, Thomas witnesses the villagers leading a nude woman into the woods to a sarcophagus containing a creature, which they impale with a stake. The next day, Thomas continues his journey, walking alone into the woods, where a carriage arrives to take him to the mountain castle. At the castle, Thomas meets Count Orlock, who mostly remains in darkness. Orlock instructs Thomas to address him as my lord, and reviews the paperwork for the castle sale. Thomas accidentally cuts his thumb, and Orlock senses the blood, feeding on it. Orlock notices Thomas's locket containing a picture of Ellen, and recognizes her as the woman who pledged herself to him years earlier. Orlock refuses to let Thomas leave due to his weakened state, and feeds on his chest while he is unconscious. Later, Thomas discovers Orlock resting in his sarcophagus, confirming he is a vampire. Thomas attempts to kill him with a pickaxe, but Orlock awakens and chases him with his hounds. Thomas escapes by climbing out a window, jumping into a river. Back in Wisborg, Ellen begins experiencing seizures again, distressed by Thomas's absence. She becomes bedridden, and Dr. Wilhelm Sievers is called to treat her with modern medicine, diagnosing her with an excess of blood. Meanwhile, Thomas is found and taken to a nearby church to recover from his injuries. He rushes home, knowing Orlock is targeting Ellen. Dr. Sievers consults his mentor, Dr. Albin Eberhard von Franz, an occult expert. They visit her Knock, who has been institutionalized due to his madness. Knock is surrounded by headless pigeons and bites into another, declaring that his master, Orlock, is coming. Von Franz concludes that Ellen is under Orlock's control, identifying him as Nosferatu, though Friedrich remains skeptical. Von Franz visits Ellen, who reveals she has been haunted by Orlock since childhood, questioning whether evil comes from within or beyond. Orlock hides in crates filled with dirt and plague rats on a ship, eventually breaking free and slaughtering the crew. The ship crashes into Wisborg's harbor. Thomas returns to Ellen, but Orlock uses mind control to speak through her, taunting him. Orlock arrives in Wisborg, and is taken to his new residence by the escaped Knock. Orlock declares that his plans can only succeed if Ellen willingly repledges herself to him, as force would render it ineffective. That night, Orlock appears to Ellen in a dream as she sleeps next to Anna. Ellen sees Orlock for the monster he is and refuses to join him. He gives her 3 nights to change her mind and divorce Thomas, threatening to kill everyone she loves and destroy the town if she refuses. Ellen awakens to find Anna on the floor, surrounded by rats, as a plague begins to spread through Wisborg. Orlock continues to manipulate Ellen's mind, attempting to push Thomas away, but she defies him by engaging in rough sex with Thomas. Later, Anna hears her daughters screaming and finds Orlock feeding on Clara and Louise before he kills Anna and her unborn child. Friedrich, in despair, kisses Anna's corpse in her tomb, succumbing to the plague. Von Franz and Sievers discover their bodies and burn them. Ellen and von Franz realize the only way to defeat Orlock is for her to willingly sacrifice herself. Von Franz leads Thomas and Sievers on a supposed hunt for Orlock, but they find Knock in the sarcophagus instead. Knock laments that Orlock never intended to reward him, as his sole desire was to claim Ellen. Thomas rushes back to Ellen, while von Franz burns the manor. Orlock arrives in Ellen's room, and she repledges herself to him. He kisses her, lays with her, and feeds on her blood until morning. Realizing too late that he has been tricked, Orlock screams in agony as he bleeds to death, shriveling into a corpse. Ellen holds him as she also begins to die. Thomas arrives in time to see her alive briefly before she passes away. He weeps, holding her body. Von Franz concludes that Ellen's sacrifice has spared the town from the curse of Nosferatu. What do you think truly defeated Orlock? Ellen's sacrifice, her defiance, or the power of love? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more recap like this. See you in the next one.